Hello everyone, it's Cicirelli. I'm making this video today for my editorial clients. This has happened enough now where I feel like I need to make a video about it for you to help clarify some of the issues that I've noticed some of you are having. So the issue is you send me a Word document to be edited and I send it back to you a week later, a month later with a bunch of red comments all over it and you don't know what to do with them, and so you feel like you might have a 100-page document. If it's a dissertation, maybe even longer than that. If it's a creative manuscript, maybe a little shorter. But you feel like I have all these red comments, and now I have to go back through this document and fix all these things that Stephen's told me to fix, and it's going to add just even more time to this, and it's going to be an inconvenience. Well, I want to assure you that's not what these red corrections mean, and that's not how you're going to address them. With Microsoft Word, I'm going to show you how to use the functionality in here to make this easy and seamless, so that there are no problems with fixing your comments. So you get all these red comments now. What do you do? So two options, and I'm going to show them to you, both of them to you. So the way you're going to go about addressing these is you're not going to actually click on these and delete anything and fix anything. You're not going to do that. What you are going to do is going to go up here to the menu in Microsoft Word and click Review. This is where you'll have access to deciding on whether you want to accept my corrections or reject my corrections. Okay, you have the option of accepting or rejecting my corrections individually, where you can go through each one. Like if you wanted to do that step by step, look at each one, decide whether you think my corrections are correct, and then accept them, you can do that. That will probably add a little bit of time to your edits, but it might be worth it, especially if it's a shorter document and you're like, let's say you're like one step before sending this off to a publisher. Maybe you do want to go through correction by correction to make sure there aren't any extra spaces or anything like that. So how do we address these comments? So you'll see that, for example, in this sample dissertation here, this is someone's actual dissertation, but I've taken names out and I've changed some things. So what you'll see here is on this line, let's look at this line, for example. You'll see that the student originally had written white with a lowercase w, and I've deleted that W, so that's one correction, and then I've inserted a capital W to let them know to capitalize that word. And so the way you address that comment is, if you want, highlight it, and if you want to accept it, you can click accept and move on to the next. And what you'll see is the red text there will disappear, and then you'll move on to the next correction, which is chopping out students for clarity. I told the student you should just get rid of that. It's already clear. The meaning's already clear, so you don't even need that extra word. So if you click accept and move on to the next, you'll see that white is capitalized now, and you can move on to the next correction. And if you want to accept that one, you can accept and move on to the next correction, which would be this here. Now, on the flip side, if you want to go back, if you want, let's say you don't agree with this and you want it to go back to your original lowercase w as you'd written it, you could reject that correction, and you'll see that when you do that, it goes back to being the lowercase w that it was originally, and then you can move on to the next correction. That's if you want to do the corrections, like I said, step by step. Look at each one, decide whether you think my correction is correct. Like if you see down here, for example, I tell the student that you don't need to write out the word percentage in APA format. You just need the percentage symbol. So can accept that one. But if you see that I make a bunch of those corrections and you're like, I don't want to have to go through and keep hitting accept on these. I know that when Stephen's telling me that I need to I put the percentage symbol for a number like this, I don't need to look at each one individually. So there's another option here to save you some time, which is, rather than clicking accept or reject for each one individually, what you can do is, especially if I am just doing like basic proofreads for you, like punctuation and things, or just fixing like your works cited page, and you want to just, and you trust me, and you've heard good things from other people, and you trust me, and you want to just accept all the corrections at once, you can do that. You can go up here, and you can click Accept All Changes. When you do that, you'll see that all of the red text, there's some red text here, there's red text on the next page, you'll see that all of that goes away. And it'll go back, it'll go to the regular black text as it's supposed to be. Just give it a second, and you'll see all of those corrections are fixed now. And this is a 150-page document, and so it's done that through the entire document. And so that will, right there, that single click saved you all the hassle of having to go through each one individually. Now, like I said, if this is like one step before sending this off to a publisher, maybe you do want to go through individually, but you don't have to. You can click that Accept All, and it'll do that for you. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you under this review menu is the margin comments that I will leave for you. So you'll notice on this document that I've left some margin comments for this student. Here's one, for example, but if you want, you can view them all by just clicking the comments, and it should show you all of them there. And so what you'll see with this one here is the comment that I made for this student is that the student didn't put a citation at the end of the sentence. The student doesn't mention the author in the sentence and doesn't put it at the end of the sentence, and so the student needs to do that. And this is unfortunately not something that you can just fix with a single click. This is something you actually have to go in and individually fix yourself. And so the way you do that is you address the issue. You go into the actual document, put the last name and year. Obviously, if this were a real paper, you'd be writing in the person's actual last name, putting in an actual year. Once you've done that, you can click over here and then resolve the thread. This lets this eliminates this. So when you printed this, or if a publisher printed this, you wouldn't see any highlight there. The other option for this is to, you'll see the thread is here. It hasn't deleted it, so you can still, like, if you wanted to go back and see what my comment was here, you could still see it. If you want to completely get rid of any evidence that I made a comment, you could just delete that thread, and you'll see that everything will disappear. Now, I'm not sure. I'd have to check with some of you, maybe leave me a comment down below. I'm not sure. Before you send this off to a publisher, you might, if you have only resolved the thread and you still have this little icon here, that might show up if someone's publishing your document. Let me know down below if that is the case. I'm not sure about that. But just to be certain, once you're certain you've fixed my margin comment, just to make sure that that's not there, you can click Delete Thread, and that will get rid of any evidence that I ever made a comment, and nothing will show up in a document that gets printed by a publisher. So that's how you resolve comments in the margins that I make for you, and I showed you also how to either to accept corrections one at a time, or to accept them all at once, or on the flip side, to reject them individually, or to reject all my corrections all at once. You can do both of those. So when I send it back to you, never again will you have to see all those red comments and freak out about all the extra time you're going to have to spend. Just know that one click, you can save yourself a whole lot of a headache. So I hope this video helped you out. Stay around on the page a little bit longer, see some of my other videos, and like I said, if there are any other questions or comments you have, leave them down for me below, and I'm happy to address them for you.